Day 22 of Vlogmas, just parked up whilst my husband drops off the cake. So hopefully they'll like it, fingers crossed. I'm wearing my festive jumper again. I think I'm just on repeat with all my festive makes at the moment. So I've just got my dinosaur jumper on with my Camden skirt. So I managed to get some sewing time in this afternoon and I have finished my dressing gown too. So I've now got a dressing gown that matches my husband and this gorgeous waffle knit fabric, which is in a mustard colour. I love how cozy it is around your neck. It's got quite a high collar and I've gone for quite long sleeves as well. And then I've got patch pockets here and then I've gone for the belt as well, which you do need. So I've got patch pockets there. So yeah, I'll try and get a photo of us both in our matching robes a little bit later. Hi, so I've come into my kitchen to do some baking. Like I said, I think I might have said it in my video yesterday, that I like to bake cakes for our neighbours just to say thank you and Merry Christmas, and then also a couple of small businesses that we like to use too. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've had quite a few requests to include a bit more baking in my videos, so that's what I'm hoping to do today, and then tomorrow I'm going to bake some cupcakes. So I thought I would talk you through the brownie recipe that I like to use. I'll put the brownie recipe in the description below as well, but I'll try and do a little bit of a sort of step-by-step as to how I bake my brownies. So I will be turning the camera around. It won't really be me like on shot unless I can set the camera up so that you can see me actually baking. I've got my mixer behind me, but actually when I'm making brownies I don't use my mixer at all. I do it all by hand. I just find that an easier method. And I am making a double batch of brownies, so I'll put the single recipe below and how many brownies that usually makes, and then in brackets where the double is and how many brownies that usually makes. To be honest, it depends on how big you like your brownies. I normally cut them quite generous size, but if you cut them quite small, then obviously you can make more brownies. These are just a chocolate fudge brownie. If I make salted caramel, which I am going to be making tomorrow, I make the brownie as normal and then I drizzle salted caramel on top. So I just get some caramel carnation, I think it's called, caramel, and then I put a little bit of salt on it and I literally drizzle that on top. And then I use a fork to drag that through the top of the brownies. So if I get a chance to film that aspect of the brownie making tomorrow, then I will. But today I'm just making chocolate fudge brownies. So I always use electric scales, and the first job I need to do is put 230 grams of butter in here. And then I'm also going to put 200 grams of dark chocolate and 200 grams of milk chocolate, and then I'm going to melt that in the microwave. That's my preferred method. I find it melts it really well in the microwave, and I normally put it on for about a minute and a half. So I'm just going to weigh out the butter and then add the dark chocolate and the milk chocolate. So I've got my big slab of milk chocolate and I just break it up as small as I can and add it in with the butter. And then I've got my dark chocolate in front of me as well. A lot of brownie recipes don't call for as much chocolate as I put in, but feedback has been they're really yummy and really chocolatey, so I always put in extra chocolate. I find the more chocolate the better. Not that I've ever tried the brownies because I can't actually eat chocolate. So that's all the milk chocolate, and then I've just got dark chocolate that's going in. I don't like using cooking chocolate. I tend to use like eating chocolate. Is that what you call it? Chocolate that you buy to eat rather than cook with. Again, feedback from everyone that's tried my brownies is that they really like the taste of them, so I feel that that is the better chocolate to go for. I just find the chocolate that you get like down the confectionery aisle in the supermarkets is the better chocolate for my brownies. So that's all the chocolate and all the butter, and I'm going to pop that now in the microwave for a minute, and then I'll give it a little mix, check that it's all melted, and if it hasn't, it'll go in for slightly longer. There's quite a lot of chocolate in there today, so it might need a bit longer than a minute. You can just hear the microwave, it might ding in a minute, but the next job I need to do is add, oh, I haven't set that. So the next thing I need to do is add sugar into this bowl. And this mixing bowl is quite a big one because there's going to be a lot of mixture going in there because I've doubled the recipe. So I need 600 grams of sugar. So I'm just going to pop all of that in. So it's finished in the microwave, but you can just see that some of the chocolate here hasn't quite melted yet. So I'm going to give it a mix and then put it in for another 30 seconds. So the next job, I've got all the sugar in here, and the next job is going to be cracking in 4 eggs. And then in the bowl, I've got the sugar and the eggs, and I've also put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then you just want to give it a really good mix so that all the egg and the sugar and the vanilla are combined, and you're left with a really frothy mixture. So you can see that that is starting to get frothy where the eggs and the sugar have been mixed, and I've got the vanilla extract in there as well. So now that the eggs and the sugar and the vanilla are all mixed and frothy, the next job is adding the melted chocolate and butter mixture into that, and it turns it all like really silky and chocolatey. So I'm just going to add, I usually add a little bit first, give it a mix, and then add the rest of it. And it already starts to smell super chocolatey. So all of that is going in, all the melted chocolate and all of the butter. And then I tend to get my spatula out because you always end up with a little bit of chocolate stuck in the bottom. I'll give that a mix first, and then I'll get my spatula. It's quite amazing how quickly it comes together and it starts to look like brownie mixture. So I've got a little spatula to help me get the last bits of chocolate out of this dish. And like I said, I find it much easier to melt the chocolate and the butter in the microwave. I just do it in sort of small increments to make sure that the chocolate's not catching and it's all melting evenly. So I start off with a minute, and then I give it a mix, and then I do 30 seconds until I know that it's all melted. So I think that's probably about all I'm going to be able to get out of there. So I give it a good mix again before we add the flour and the cocoa powder. So this is what it looks like at the moment. It is sugar, eggs, vanilla, and then the chocolate, milk and dark, and the butter as well. And then the next job I need to do is add the flour and the cocoa powder. So we're going to add 100 grams of self-raising flour, and then 200 grams of plain flour, and then I add about 70 grams of cocoa powder, give or take a few grams. It doesn't matter if you go slightly over. So I'm going to chuck all of that in a second. I like to weigh it all out first and then pop it in the bowl a bit by bit so that I can mix it in and make sure that I haven't got any pockets of flour. So I'm just going to weigh all of that out, and then I'll start to add it to the bowl. So it's 100 grams of self-raising flour, 200 grams of plain flour. So I'll do the self-raising first. There we go. And then it's the plain flour next. And then you want to add the cocoa powder. I always weigh it out first in a jug or in a container before I add it to the bowl. So I've got it all weighed out in here, and then I'm just going to slowly add it to the bowl, a little bit at a time. Give it a really good mix and make sure it's all mixed in. I don't want any pockets of flour. This is the bit that takes a while because it starts to get thicker and harder to mix. So that is the brownie mixture with the flour and the cocoa powder added. You can see I've just got a little bit of flour on the outside, but on the whole, all of it is mixed in, and it's a lovely gooey brownie mixture. So the next thing I need to do now that I've got this lovely mixture is I need to, oh, there's a bit of a flour pocket there. I just need to line the tin, grease it first, and then line it with greaseproof paper. And I've got a silicone pastry brush, which I'll just show you. So I have this silicone pastry brush that I use to put a little bit of butter on. So I use Stork, grease the tin at the bottom, and then I line it. Look at all the floury mess that I've made. So I've got my tin here. This tin measures 14 inches by 10 inches. And then I've got my silicone pastry brush. So I'm going to brush the tin first with Stork, and then I'm going to line it with some greaseproof paper, and then I'll pour the brownie mixture in and then bake it in the oven. So a little tip when you're lining your tin, I've got lots and lots of butter at the bottom before I put the paper in, but I always leave a little bit on the edge, and that just helps when you're lifting out the brownie. You've got a little bit of paper to help you when you're lifting it out. So the final step now that the tin is lined is we're going to pour the brownie mixture in, and I've got a bigger spatula to help me with this. You want to make sure you get all the brownie mixture. And then using the spatula, I'm just going to spread it out so it's even in the tin. It's an even layer. You want to make sure you get it all in the corners as well. And then I've got the oven preheated at 170 degrees. This is going to go in there. You can see it's all lovely. It's going to go in the oven for between 30 to 35 minutes. And you know it's ready because the outside of the brownie forms a little crust. And don't worry when you get the brownie out if it's a little bit wobbly in the middle. I'll show you when I get my brownie out. You want it to have a little bit of wobble in the middle when you get it out, because that means it's going to be a really nice gooey brownie. And now I'm pausing because dinner is ready. We're having this aubergine parmigiana with pesto bruschetta. So that was in the oven whilst I was making the brownie mixture. So I've just taken this out, put the oven down to 170, and now we're going to tuck into this, which I'm really excited about. So the brownies are out of the oven and they've cooled slightly so I can carry the tin. But you do want a tiny little bit of can you see there's a bit of give to the brownie when I'm pushing it there? You want it to be soft in the middle. And then the way that you can tell that it's ready is it's got this lovely like crust all the way around the edge. So here you can see it's got that crust. If I come here, you'll be able to see it a bit better. And that's how you know that your brownie is ready. So it's still a little bit soft in the middle, but it's got that crust going all the way around the edge. And then what you need to do is leave it for as long as possible before you cut it. Because if you try and cut it now, be really, really gooey and you won't be able to get a clean cut on your brownie. It'll all end up in a big stodgy mess and you don't want that. Smelling really lovely and Christmassy because I've got my gingerbread wax melt in the wax burner, which is lovely. And then in the front room, we've got the apple and cinnamon one. So brownies baked, dinner eaten, and it was delicious, by the way. Really, really yummy. And what I really loved about it is the fact it's a vegetarian recipe, so I didn't have to do any extra bits and bobs for the rest of my family that do eat meat. We could all just eat that recipe, which was great. So I've got my advent calendar here, so I thought I'd open today's door, which is door 22. So I've got it here, so I'm just going to open it up. And then today's labels are very cute. They're lilac and they've got sewing related pictures all over them. So if I show you, so there's a cotton reel, there's scissors, there's a sewing machine, a button, and a teeny tiny little ruler. So I've got 3 labels there, so I look forward to using those. This evening my husband and I are off to Marks and Spencer's to do some of our Christmas food shop. It's a little tradition that we do every year. We go and get some nice like condiments, and usually my husband gets some nice chocolates, and we pick up some, they normally do like really nice syrups for coffee and things, just extra little bits and bobs that make Christmas really lovely. So we're going to go off and do that, and then when I get back I'm hopefully going to do a little bit more sewing because I've still got Christmas pyjamas to sew up, and then I've got a couple of Christmassy dresses that I want to get sewn up. And there's the little red dress project on the go at the moment, so I'm really desperate to get my little red dress sewn up. It's not going to be a super fancy dress. I'm going to use the Dear and Dear Maya Sotis dress pattern. So I've got some cotton poplin that I got from Abercorn Fabrics that I've got cut out ready to go, and I want to sew that up. So I'm really hoping that I can get my 2 Christmas dresses sewn up this evening, and then tomorrow, in between all the things I've got going on, I'm hoping to get Christmas pyjamas sewn up, which is exciting because I need those to be finished for Christmas Eve so that we can all wear them on Christmas Eve. So this is the fabric that I'm hoping to use for my little red dress project dress. It's a cotton poplin and it's got the Nutcracker print all over it. So there's the mouse, you can see the ballerina, you can see presents and the rocking horse. There's lots of really cute things on there. So I've got until Christmas Eve to get this sewn up and photographed. So I'm hoping when I get back from shopping this evening, I'll be able to get that sewn up. I'm using one of my favourite patterns that I've sewn loads and loads and loads before. So hopefully it should sew up fairly straightforward. I need to decide on what buttons I'm going to use for it. But I'm just doing the standard myosotis with the little mandarin collar and the buttons down. I haven't extended the bodice like I usually do, and I haven't got waist ties, but I am putting pockets in. And then hopefully we're going to watch the pantomime on Christmas Eve, so I'd quite like to wear this to the pantomime on Christmas Eve with a cardigan and thick woolly tights and boots. So I'm hoping to spend a couple of hours this evening sewing this up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing me baking brownies. Hopefully I'll be able to film a little bit of me baking the cupcakes, and then I'll try and do a little bit of the decorating as well, but I want to have those done by sort of lunchtime tomorrow so that I can give them to the different places that I want to say thank you to. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, it'd be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button. And I'll be back tomorrow with day 23 of Vlogmas, and I'm off to Kew Gardens tomorrow as well, so maybe I'll film a little bit of Kew Gardens. Take care, I'll be back soon. Bye.